Kia ora, my name is Kane Yati and I will be pitching the public relations plan for the Friendly Hills Community Garden. As an introduction, the Friendly Hills Community Garden, the Friendly Hills Community Garden was once a thriving, vibrant community. Recently, however, the garden's energy has faded with many founding members having moved on or taken up less strenuous activities to deal with old age. The garden has now become a lifeless construct that is threatened by the development in the area. This PR plan aims to rekindle the original spirit and tackle the issues that have emerged from this decline. So as we can see, there's a lot of issues coming about with a lot of the older generations moving out or changing up their activities. Therefore, we need to figure out ways to deal with these issues, as well as the developmental issues in the area. And really aim to restore this kind of atmosphere within the garden. To begin with our audiences, we will be targeting hobby gardeners, new homeowners, and educators. Why are these audiences so important? Well, first of all, they all have shared community interests, so most of these audiences we're aiming to draw them from a local pool of individuals. So with shared community interests, they would be aiming to participate in events that involve the community, or in events that may educate young people about the garden and so forth. Point two is educating less knowledgeable individuals, so we can leverage educators based on their knowledge of things like gardens, plant irrigation, plant technology, and just really provide a knowledge bank for individuals who don't know as much about these methods of gardening. Point three is building interest in the campaign. So in terms of building interest in the campaign, we obviously need a strong backing, and in terms of that, we can really leverage hobby gardeners. So hobby gardeners are gardeners, but not necessarily members of the community garden. So they can really help draw a lot of support from other communities or local community members, and really build interest in the campaign. Point four is the participation for community introduction. So this may come from new homeowners who have recently moved to the area and they don't know much, so they want to get acquainted with members of the community that they're living in now, and they can do this by participating in the community events that will be set by the campaign. So with things like our first garden event, and it can really get them acquainted with the community. And the last point is we can leverage from educated participants. So what we're aiming for is educators, and we can leverage these educators as a means or a knowledge bank for young people or people who are not as informed to really learn about the processes of gardening and plant irrigation and plant technology. The message is restoration and innovation, methods of moving forward while remembering the past. The campaign aims to restore the atmosphere of the once vibrant garden through new innovations outlined in the plan. These innovations are to help restore the atmosphere of the garden while creating appealing new features for younger generations to enjoy. This secures the garden's future among the youth while also helping educate future generations about gardening. While the message, what we're stating and is implied in the text, is that we want to combine, or not combine, but use new ideas to our leverage. So things like incorporating tutorials for gardening in the community garden, or teaching how to water a plant, or the irrigation system for garden, plant technology, and so forth. So in order to really build interest and keep our young people interested and the future generations interested, we need to provide new innovations, but at the same time also aiming to restore that atmosphere that the garden once had. So as the message encapsulates methods of moving forward while remembering the past. For our strategy and tactics section, we are using innovations, events, and celebrations. So as outlined in the PR plan, the campaign aims to amplify its message through the use of innovations, events, and celebrations. These amplification methods are to draw from the local and wider community and provide fun and memorable experiences for those participating in the campaign. For this section, we are obviously using innovations, events, and celebrations. These will come in the forms of our first event, which will take place in the first half of the week, the first month of the campaign. So these will aim to just kind of draw and rally support from the local community and our audiences as well, and really just target the local community and build up the support and backing that we can, so that we can have a stronger campaign. And innovations such as we've mentioned before, gardening tutorials, plant irrigation lessons, and things to teach youth and uninformed individuals about gardening and its technology. In this way, it allows us to really spread the word spread the importance of keeping the community garden and keeping our future generations entertained with it. On top of that, it provides fun and memorable experiences for the participants of the campaign, which will hopefully correlate to, I guess, an increase in future participation for the garden. For our crisis communication, we have written down, to combat crisis, the campaign will aim to convince the public of the ongoing effects of climate change and the benefits of having a community garden where individuals can help stop its spread. The campaign will first acknowledge the problem and then try to explain from the standpoint of the negative effects of climate change. Simply, the garden acts as a response to the increase of climate change by the use and cultivation of the land. So this is a response in terms of, in the context of the theoretical scenario that we encounter a group of neighbors who have riled up against this campaign, and obviously there will be issues with the campaign in terms of noise, the mention of it being an eyesore. So in order to combat these issues, we will first acknowledge the issue that the campaign does have issues, and the final product will definitely have a bit of a messy result. But in terms of combating climate change, we're aiming to also provide a means of a way to fight back against the climate change. So so the way we can fight it back against it is by cultivating the land and growing food rather than purchasing food that is produced in areas or in factories that have negative effects on the environment. So things like chocolate or highly processed foods, which come from factories that spew a lot of chemicals in the air. Rather than doing that, we can aim to grow as much food as we can and hopefully provide some form of a positive impact on climate change, and we will really aim to fight back against its issues. Yes, so to conclude, our PR plan has discussed the aspects of the garden, its audiences, tactics and amplification methods, and what we've covered, the crisis communication. So to conclude, thank you for considering this pitch. I hope it makes it somewhere. Thank you.